Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. As you know, 1 Million by 1 Million is the first and only global virtual incubator accelerator in the world, and our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in annual revenue and beyond, build $1 trillion in global GDP and 10 million jobs. And we work with a very large audience of entrepreneurs, and we work a lot in the media as well as through the actual incubation acceleration program, these free roundtables. So through books, there's all sorts of platforms and methods through which we try to impart knowledge that we have gathered and brought together here to the world's entrepreneurship population as well as aspirants. There are people who are following the program who have not yet jumped into entrepreneurship with both feet, but will in due course and are gathering information and knowledge so that they can do that effectively. This is our 219th 1M1M Roundtable, and that means that we have been here for a long time and have developed quite a lot of depth in our understanding of what are the issues that are facing early stage entrepreneurs. If you are live tweeting the show, please use hashtag 1M1M. Our Twitter handles are at 1M by 1M and at Sramana. And our YouTube channel is 1M1M Roundtables, where you will find recordings of every single roundtable prior. And this one as well will show up there in due course. We're going to do a couple of slide presentation-based discussions, and then we're going to go into open Q&A on the chat line, on the phone line. So I'll put the slide up when you're ready to take calls. So we're going to start today with Vanessa Engelhardt from The Hague, Netherlands. Vanessa, if you could unmute your line and tell us what you're working on, that would be great.
Yes. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to be in this call, of course. As I said, my name is Vanessa Engelhardt, and I'm a freelancer. I'm an ICT consultant and manager in the Netherlands, and I'm working on going global. And the presentation that I'm giving today is about Control A, and Control A is an IT game for children starting of ages of 10 years. As you can see in the presentation, as a role model, I go to a lot of schools in order to get girls enthusiastic about choosing technique. Because in the Netherlands, there's a shortness of specialists, and many girls don't consider it an occupation for women. It's still very much a man's kind of occupation in the Netherlands. So I go to schools, and every time I hear the teachers tell me it's so difficult to explain what you can do with ICT. And as a woman, I felt that was really a pity, because I think it's the best job you can have. I enjoy it every day. So I was thinking, how can I enthusiast young children to become ICT specialists or to choose technique? And I want to show them that it's not just about mathematics and physics. You can do all kinds of jobs within this area. On the other hand, I'm a game fanatic, and old school board games, as in Monopoly, Colonist of Catan, things like that. So I figured, well, what's a better way to enthusiast children than through a game? Something they can play every Friday on school if they want to, something they can learn about and find it fun. So this is how I got to develop the game, the ICT game. The basics of this game is it's a sort of a project management game. Mm-hmm. So there are 8 children who have to build and design a product. In this case, it could be super high-tech glasses with a mobile phone built in it, for example. And in the beginning, they choose their business case. They draw from 4 steps, and then they either get a product, and the second step will tell them what customer they will get. It can be an environmental friendly person, or a quick businessman, or something like that. And they choose 2 cards that will tell them how much time do they get to build and to sell it, and how much money will each player get. Well, those 4 cards together will present their business game. Let's see, and then they start to play, and it's 8 children together who play the game against other 8 children. So in a total, I don't know how it is in the United States or India or other countries, but here in this country, we have about 30 children, at the most 32 in a classroom. And sometimes it's 16, depending on the place or where the school is located. And so you can play this game with 32 children in a row if you have 4 groups of 8. And they will battle together in order to get the most customers. And how do you get the most customers? By buying the right parts for your product. During this game, I also thought I do not want to introduce them solely to technique, because there are 8 roles in this game. So I also want to have them learn about other, occupations that are linked to technique, but not necessarily that you have to use a screwdriver and a hammer or something like that. And so if you go to the next slide, please. Yeah, these are the roles that I introduced. First of all, the project manager. I have a hardware and a software specialist. But I also want to teach them that if you build a product, it doesn't sell itself. You still have to do commercials. You need a security specialist who deals with contracts that you have to provide during your suppliers or for your stores where you're going to sell the product. You need, or a lawyer, I mean, you need a security specialist. And what I do is, because it's children ages of 10, I explain this by baking pancakes. I start with a presentation in the classroom, and I tell them if you go and bake pancakes, then you need a hardware specialist who goes for the pots and the pans. You have a software specialist that deals with the eggs and the flour and stuff like that. You have a security specialist that deals with the fire extinction and make sure that the eggs aren't overdue, stuff like that. And in that way, they get a small idea of what the roles are about. And then they start to play. And then they learn about money. Each role has about 4 parts that the student has to buy, meaning a hardware specialist needs to buy something of a processor, you need to buy a kind of battery, and the housing needs to be there. But it all depends on the kind of customer you have. If you have an environmental friendly customer, then he would want you to buy a battery that goes on solar energy, for example. And the children have to make a decision all together, because it's a collaborative game. They have to decide, once the dice is rolled and it rolls on hardware specialist, then he will have to decide, will I buy this battery that's in front of me or not? Will I spend 500 euros on it? And as soon as they all decided to buy the card or not, then they turn it around, and in the back, the children will see if it was a good purchase or not, and explain why. So they learn about choices they have to make with the money they have, the customer, keep in mind the customer that you have, and all these elements about socializing too, because you want to score points yourself, because that will give you, for example, 300,000 customers if you make a good decision. And if you make a bad decision, it's 0 customers. So you all want as much customers as possible, but you're also thinking about if you want to do good for yourself. Well, this game sounds complicated, but basically when the children start playing it, then within 5 minutes they got the hang of it, and there they go. So I did a proof of concept, actually 2 proof of concepts, and one at a school where the children were ages of 10 and 11, and that was very successful. Children were all excited, and in the beginning I thought, well, maybe it's too much time, 40 minutes, but at the end they were all complaining that the time was up, because they still wanted to buy all kinds of things and they weren't done yet. So that was very successful. And next slide, please. And the second proof of concept actually got me in the newspaper because it was a school for children with ages of 14 and 15 years old. And, well, they were all excited. And the fun part also is you see difference between the girls and the boys. So the girls, when I asked them at the end, what did you think of the game? They say like, yeah, we like the collaboration and that you have to talk to each other and decide together. And the boys, they are like, yeah, we can score points. And I could take, as a project manager, I was able to take money away from him and give it to somebody else. And so you also see that there's a different fun element depending on the sex of the children. So I was in the newspaper, and then because of that, the next page please, I was able to receive the Computable IT Hero Award because they felt I was doing something that was, well, social-minded project, but also helping a gap that is there in the Netherlands as the government has difficulty trying to stimulate children to choose technique. So it's a really difficult subject, I don't know in the rest of the world, but at least here in the Netherlands, to get the good people and the good specialists. So basically in a row, what is this product and this service? What will happen is a school can call me or can ask for a consult in a game. I come to the school with some other consultants that are also in technique. We give a presentation about the subject, about the profession that we have and why we find it so much fun. And then we start playing the game with the children and we show the teachers also how they can guide it if they want to. There's also, of course, regulations with it so they could read it themselves. But it's also fun for the teachers to see how they can guide it and play with it and see what the children are capable of. And at the end of the session, we leave, but I want the school to have something permanent. So we leave at least 2 game cases so the school can play all year round. So I don't know how it works in other countries, but here sometimes at Friday afternoons or Wednesday they have play moments where they can, they don't have a strict curriculum, they can just add a little bit fun to it or do something with technique and they can choose the teachers. So this will be a good moment to have children play the game like once or twice a month on the Friday and teach them about all these 8 roles that you can have. And besides, it's not just for technique. You can apply this game for economics because you have to think about the money and about what something costs and what the return is. They can be used for math, for physics, because children have to calculate how much customers they have and how much money they're spending. And sociology, of course, also, because you're talking about environment and you're talking about.
So Vanessa, my impression listening to you so far, I think it's a great idea, and it sounds like something that you've already tested on groups of children and they're resonating with it. Certainly you want to get more of those instances, practiced and gather feedback from so that you really understand how this is all playing out. But there are a few things that strikes me. I think you should market this as you should build this as an e-commerce business, and you can then work with, if you do it in English and if it's an e-commerce business, then you can do it all over the world. People will buy it off your website from as a B2C e-commerce product, and you don't have to go and give presentations in schools. You can capture YouTube videos and have whatever it is that you need to convey about the content of the game, the rules of the game, and so forth. You could record all of that, and I think it's perfectly viable to build this as an e-commerce business, and that's what my recommendation would be. Going to schools and doing guest lectures and presentations is not a scalable model.
No. It is for the Netherlands, of course, but I have bigger dreams indeed. So that's why you have, of course, guidelines and YouTube. I'm working on that at this point. So yes.
Also, yeah, just listening to you, I see you using words that are not English words. Like technique is not an English word. The word is technology. So if you want to do this as a global game, something that will appeal to the global audience, you need to work with people who know English well, so that the way it's explained is understandable for people all over the world.
Okay, I will work on that part, of course. So basically, I think I was almost at the end, indeed, of the slides, because the game has a lot of potential. There's also been a few companies who have interest in not a school version, but a home version for this, so we're working on that too. But the reason why I want
version as a home version.
Yeah, because this is a school version. You have to play it with at least 8 children against 8 other children, for example. But it's also good to have a home version where children can play this with their parents. Because in Holland, parents also are very important in the decision for the children which profession they're going to be in. They are very much involved in the children and the way they steer them to have a certain occupation. And in the Netherlands, being a lawyer or a doctor has far more, what do you call it? It seems far more important and a profession that you can make more money in than in ICT, for example, or in technology, or in construction, or car industry, or something like that. So that's why a home version is also on the list of producing. But at this point, in this stage of the game, I did the proof of concepts. There's going to be one last proof of concept next week with a class that has more ethnical children, so less Dutch children, to see how it works for children who also come out of different environments. And then when I finish that, I want to start producing the suitcases so schools can order it and I can send it out. But in order to do that and to start producing the suitcases and to do the last part of development for the home version, I need funding. And also I'm looking for companies to see if I can take this worldwide, of course, and outside the Netherlands, because I feel all children would be helped by a game like this to find out if this might be a profession for them. So this is basically why I also joined this roundtable, to see if I can get some help, or if, as you can see in the presentation, if there are sponsors or companies who would like to sponsor a few schools to buy this game for them.
So you will get your answers to the question of how we work with entrepreneurs later on in the presentation. I will go over exactly how to work with 1M1M and how to get the help that we provide. But in terms of going worldwide, my strong recommendation would be to just do it as an e-commerce business and start working. If you have a home version and a school version, and my hunch here is that you can crowdfund this project. I think you should be able to, build this as an organically funded, with some crowdfunding, e-commerce business, and it's a perfectly viable business. It's not clear to me that it's going to be a venture fundable business, but it definitely is a crowd-fundable business fundable by friends and family investments, and then organically revenue generating business.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions?
For me, basically, that was it. I'm glad I got the opportunity to present the game. And of course, I'm working on better video material and also translate it to English, so I can show what really happens in the classroom and have translations on how it looks once you're in the classroom. And I hope from here forward on, I'm working on crowdfunding and other possibilities, of course.
Yeah.
And I hope this will get some attention, and maybe companies or other schools or international people will get interested in a game like this.
But you shouldn't think about it as people getting interested. You should think about how to build this business on a brick by brick manner. We in our program we follow very strict methodology of how to build a business. We don't leave things up to chance. You don't hope that somebody will get interested. You create a business and take the steps such that you reach the people that you want to reach. That's the way we build businesses here.
Okay, yeah, I have been doing that, of course, in the Netherlands. I've made those steps, and I'm busy with a few banks to see if I can get funding and crowdfunding here in the Netherlands so I can start here. But because I have international ambitions.
But if you do it as an e-commerce business, I don't think it will be a problem to do it internationally, even from the Netherlands. But you will need an international product. You will need a product in English that can sell. That is a world-class product.
And an entrance. I need to find entrances where I can start. I can start writing people or companies and schools and get this product known, of course. So you need to start somewhere.
Hold on for a second. I'm going to talk about how to use the one-in-one program to build your business. And why don't you listen to that, and then you can ask more questions if you need to.
Okay.
And there, I see a couple of comments and questions in the public chat, and let me take those. Anne Clark, it seems like a perfectly legitimate lifestyle business. So I'd prefer that you do not use this terminology because, a business is a business, and it's really difficult to build a business. This terminology, lifestyle business, actually really ticks me off because it kind of feels like it's very easy to build. It's kind of comfortable to build a small business. It's not. It's really hard to build a business. Whether it's a small business, mid-sized business, large business, it's really hard to build a business. It is not really a comfortable lifestyle. So this terminology I do not like at all.
I have worked on this for 2 years almost, and I put a lot of money into myself. So yes, I agree. It's not an easy thing that you think of an idea, there it is, and boom.
Yeah, and I find this lifestyle business term a pejorative term, and I really dislike it as a result of that. So the point you're making, however, Anne, is correct, that we don't really know whether this is going to be a venture scale business, which means that is it going to be $1 billion opportunity? Not sure. Until, consumer products like this, it's not clear that it's going to resonate with the market at a very large scale or not until it gets into the market. So, I think your point is well taken, that it's definitely, it needs to be kind of framed as a small business to begin with, and we need to start building it, and then as it gains traction, we make decisions on what is the right funding strategy for it. But initially, it has to be crowdfunding, friends and family funding, and those are the only options. It's not venture funding that we would go for to begin with. And you're right. This is, as I kept saying, it's something that needs to be built as a B2C consumer business, and it can be, could be a school version that you sell as a B2C consumer product, and you set it up completely as all the collaterals of videos and video presentations and rules and everything needs to be set up in a way such that people can buy it as consumers as well as schools can buy it on their own and get up to speed on their own without you having to visit these schools and give lectures.
That's the idea, yeah.
And Ken Anderson is asking a good question. Is anything patentable or even proprietary? If not, won't she need to be extremely well funded to gain traction before it's duplicated by someone with deep pockets? Ken, no one will duplicate it until it's a runaway success.
Yeah.
So why does Angry Bird get duplicated? Because it is a runaway success. So unless it is a runaway success, no one is going to duplicate it, and so it's not even an issue. But you can, file all sorts of copyright protection and IP protection around it to preserve your intellectual property. But games have been notoriously difficult to protect intellectual property on.
Yeah.
So,
I have the
but
intellectual property rules.
if it's a modest success, no one's going to copy it. It's going to be fine. Actually, in a way, it's to your advantage to have a modest success so that you can build this business comfortably without people running all over you. Okay, we are going to move on. Thank you, Vanessa. Please hang on, and we will have more discussions about how to use 1M, 1M later on. In the meantime, let's move to Satish Medapati. Satish, you are up next.
Hi, Sramana. Hi, everyone.
Good morning, or good evening, actually, for you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, morning, everyone. There's nothing much there. You can probably skip that slide. I just followed the convention of what Maureen said. Yeah.
Sounds so much clearer today. Last week, you were completely inaudible.
Yeah, I right now have 3 internet connections, 2 phones, 1 iPad, and something else, just in case something fails.
So you have plenty of redundancy today.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Sorry about the last week. Sorry. Are you going on, or should I talk?
Go ahead. Tell us what's going on with Medine.
Yeah. So Medine is about building the next-gen restaurant experience and completely driven by data sciences. Imagine you walk into a cafe in SFO or in Sydney or in Bangalore, right? They know that you are one entity, XYZ, and you probably prefer a flat white without sugar and may even like a biscotti. Okay? So what happens? How does this happen? How do people get served the food that they like or they prefer? Like, let us say you walk into a restaurant, an Italian restaurant, you get recognized. The first thing, how nice it would be. Welcome back, Sramana. We haven't seen you for the past 6 weeks, something like that. Then you open your app. Medine, the consumer interface is a mobile application. You open the app and you get recommended to try whatever that dish is. It's quite a tongue twister for me. And you order the same through the app. Okay. What happens next is this order goes to the restaurant backend system. The order is customized since the restaurant already knows that you prefer an Indian mint and a dash of garlic to this, probably. Okay, just making up this example. And when the dish comes to your table, you're like, wow, it's exactly made to your palate, right? So they also realize that you've been here for the 6th time in this cafe in this year. And then, they say, okay, Sramana, just have a chocolate cake, with our compliments as a fresh cream. Right? And then you go back home and the context of where retargeting starts. Did I communicate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what is it? I mean, is it an app? Is it a pause? What is it, right? That's the question that typically, right? So for a consumer, people who use it, just think about it like a personal butler service that starts learning about your likes, preferences, and maps your palate. Okay, the palate preferences are mapped. Of course, based on the number of times you use it and all that stuff. It's completely driven by data sciences, as I said, right? And for the restaurant, it's actually a point of sale system or a billing system, okay? And they get all this data in their own system, and it's all obviously on the cloud. Okay.
So it's an app for the consumer, an app for the restaurant, but they're 2 different apps. The app that the restaurant is seeing is different, and the app that the consumer is seeing is different, correct?
Absolutely right, Sramana. I'm so glad you are the first person to tell that.
And how about on the server side? How is the data being stored, and who owns that data?
Yeah, entire data is owned by us. Okay, both consumer side and the restaurant side, because like I said, 10 years of analytics and data sciences experience. The only thing we know is to make sense out of data. So the business is today this data, for instance, right? You have an airline miles card that is associated with your flight patterns, right? You have a Target or you have a Target or a JCPenney or Sam's associated with your purchase pattern, retail, groceries, and all this stuff, right? But tell me, where is your likes and preferences of food associated with you as a person? Nobody cares. You just walk into the restaurant, 15 minutes later you go back there, they're completely blank about you. They don't care what you like, and Wouldn't it be nice, I'll just give you a corner case, a diabetic walks in to a restaurant and they say that, hey, thanks for coming in and here is your coffee with, no sugar. Something like that, right?
So in terms of what do the restaurants need to do? You're saying that the menu is online and the the point of sale system is on that app available to consumers. So does that mean that the restaurants need to be recruited to use the program and they need to upload their menu and be equipped to take orders, yeah?
Bang on. Bang on.
Does that mean that you're going to have to one by one sell all these restaurants?
Which is what we did for a year and realized that it will take me 20 years to build a business like that, and we just moved it. I'll come back to that probably.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So when I said this, the consumer value prop and the restaurant value prop, right? All these things have statistically valid and good enough chunk of data that validates what I say here. Okay. So for a restaurant, it is very simple. In fact, when we went ahead and we actually had to educate restaurants, our customers, saying that, do you at least have a clue that, there are 10,000 people walking out of your restaurant, and if you actually have a CLM, a customer lifetime value management for your own sake, you're probably better off than, advertising on Yelp or Zomato in this case in India. Okay. So it's very hard sell, and, we wanted to realize. We thought that there's no point in trying to educate them about a lifetime value, educate them about repeat usage and all that, and then we have to change the model to say that, hey, don't forget about everything. If you get an order, people are going to order, you're going to get business, your order value is going to get increased. Are you okay with it or not? So that's how we are selling it. We are dumbing it down as much as possible and trying to sell it, because we failed miserably multiple times before we actually hit upon at least what I think is probably a scalable version.
How many restaurants are using it now?
Yeah, so the last week when I put this presentation, it was 200. Right now we have added 98 more.
So you have 300 restaurants, and is it in a particular city?
Yeah, right now I'm focusing on Bangalore. I want to get it to a scale of about 700, 800 in Bangalore, where you cover, the restaurants, and then build on the consumer side as well, and then move up to any city. It doesn't matter where it is.
Okay, so you have 300 restaurants who have uploaded their menu to your application.
Right. So for instance, like we signed up 98 restaurants yesterday, one chain. So you can take it as 200. I have some problems with making them live. So the live is probably about 80 restaurants that you can see on the app. The rest are I'm making it live because I have production problems. Something that you can control.
I see. Okay, so and how many consumers are on this beta right now?
Yeah, so I have about 5,600 consumers as of yesterday, and I have you want to move to the next slide, because all the metrics that you would ask probably are going to be there. Yeah, right. That's the segment, and sorry, can you just move to the next slide as well? I'll tell you about, you're asking about the tractions. I would rather finish that and come back. Yeah. So we are live in that, and we have orders through the Medine platform is about 30,000. Okay, the third block. App repeat usage for me is about 50% over 6 months. There are 4 restaurants in which the web app that they use is completely the only POS that they use. Am I communicating, Sramana?
That's the only point of sale that they're using. They don't have any other point of sale that you charge out of the process or work with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So where I have superb control on that, and I have an app engagement rate of about 90%.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is the business model that you're working with?
Okay. So one is the commission-based model on every retargeted customer who walks in. So you spend $1,000, you're going to pay me $50. 5% commission is what I'm charging for them. On the POS, it is a subscription-based model, which people are more than happy to pay.
Okay.
Okay. Can you just move to
how many subscriptions are in your 70 restaurants? How many are paying subscriptions?
Almost everybody pays. It's just that my collection cost is higher than going there because we don't have in-app payment right now.
I see.
So I raise an invoice. I don't bother to it's a couple of 300 rupees, 400 bucks. Probably, my cost of collection is higher than, that. So I just leave it. I raise an invoice. I tell them we're going to take it. So yeah, it's a bad precedent that we don't collect, but they're okay to pay it because as much as what they would pay anybody else.
Okay.
Can you just move to the one slide before, Sramana? Okay. Yeah, so here is what I wanted to tell. Forget about the segment and acquisition strategy. Two things I wanted to tell. Okay, acquisition strategy. We started with like what you said, feet on street, going, meeting the guy and trying to sell. In 1 year, we were able to get about 87 restaurants. Okay, that is up to almost March, this March. Okay. And then that's when we realized that, hey, it's not going to work out. It's going to be like, probably another 20 year business. And I would be probably better off, working for someone else and making money rather than, doing it myself and slogging it, right? That's when we slightly changed it and we started doing the signups on telephone. So I have a telecaller who calls up and says that, hey, this is what is the proposition. You can use it for 6 months free of cost, but the contract says after the 6 months, you have to pay me 5% commission. And they are absolutely okay with it, and I am able to build that, the next 200 plus only on the telephone channel. Okay, so I just take one email confirmation and a couple of emails so that I have some level of proof. Okay, that is one thing I wanted to tell you as to how we are scaling. And most importantly, I want to spend like a couple of minutes on this. Okay, now the first thing that okay, I was in a job till last August. Okay, 2013 August. And till that, of course, we started this in January 13th, you can say it as, okay, the app. We didn't have any capability of ordering and all. We just said that put up a menu and said, let people browse, okay, and then people came back and said that, oh, why can't I order? There was like, probably some pilot experiments that we did, we learned, we failed and all that stuff. But from last August is when we started saying that, we started saying that, hey, this is going to be a big business because we are fundamentally changing the consumer behavior on the consumer side, and for the restaurant, it's basically about increasing the order values and retargeting. They have no clue about anything. Okay, so the first assumption for a couple of months we tested is, hey, does dine-in really? I'm telling you that you go to a restaurant, open an app, don't use a menu card, don't wait for a waiter. And I'm talking about in India where labor is cheap and there are 4 people waiting at you, okay, on your table. Does it really work? Is it really, valuable stuff, or am I smoking dope, right? So that's the first point that we prove, where we had like, when I say prove, I'm talking about 3% week on week growth for the time we focused on it, given powerful communication, okay? If I communicate, people are more than happy to use it. Now the second assumption that we tested is, hey, will consumers use it, or is it just a one-trick pony? It could be, yeah, novelty, it's cool, yeah, good, that's it, that's pretty much it. We have people who use it more than 82 times so far, okay? And we have a very high repeat usage rate, like I mentioned. So yeah, fine, that's good. So people continue to use it. Then the third one is, do they really remember to order from the app, right? Considering that we are not, the finest of UI, the finest of UX, nothing like it. It's like a very basic MVP, right? So that also we have proven, okay? When I say prove, it's like a statistically significant data and a significant data.
Do you know why people like to order from the app? Have you talked to the users? Have you got feedback on why they like to order from the app?
Sure. Just go back one step, the consumer value prop, one slide before that. Yeah, this one, right? So one of the VCs gave me that prove to me in your consumer's voice that they love using it, right? So every day, from that day onwards, we actually pick up a phone, even though it's expensive and all, we pick up a phone and talk to the consumer, say, hey, what do you like, what do you not like? And predominantly, they like the convenience of ordering, and they feel it's a searchable and informative menu card as compared to a regular static menu card. Okay, for instance, they give a lot of, you can download it and check for yourself.
It sounds like you're having consumers rate all the dishes, not just the restaurants, yes. All the dishes.
Yeah, the restaurants, we don't even ask for rating. In fact, till yesterday, we didn't even release that thing. We always wanted, what is good here, okay? So, okay, one step okay, I'll answer your question first and then I'll tell you as to why this happened, right? So people like no waiters, no menu cards, and it's a convenient way to order is what people like. In dining in India where 4 people wait on your table, okay, they feel dish discovery happens here, okay, and obviously they get rewards. I don't know whether I mentioned it or not, like I mentioned that, right? You come for the 6th time, you get a chocolate cake. I gave that example, right? So I think the perceived value is this, but also the rewards actually push it in, and they like this, that's it.
Okay.
And one more thing, we added pre-order a couple of months back, okay. Pre-order is like you order it and then you go to the restaurant and everything will be ready except the ones that have to be freshly made, okay. That, the perceived value of consumers is humongous, like, you know, almost everyone whom we talk to says, wow, this is the most amazing thing that, you know, I can pre-order and then go. But when you look at the numbers, it is actually dining that gives us 97% of the volumes of orders that come in. Am I communicating something?
97% of the orders?
Sorry?
Pre-order is 97% of the orders?
No, the other way. Dine-in is 97%, whereas people say, you know, pre-order is the greatest thing in this app.
Interesting. You know why? Because you pre-order and then you get stuck in Bangalore traffic and your food gets cold.
Not really. There is a delivery issue. I mean, we can go deep on, you know, if you have time, but not that. See, the perceived value is, wow, this is cool that, you know, 15 minutes, I have a table for 10 reserved and, you know, all this chapati, aloo, everything is done. But the reality is, it's still, maybe, you know, maybe it's too early for us because it's just a couple of months that we started pre-order, but as of today, it's like less than 3% numbers and people just go, sit in the table and actually open the app and start browsing and placing the order.
Okay. I think top selling is a good thing to bring in people in this kind of a setup, because when you, especially if you go to a new restaurant, not in a loyalty situation, if it's a new restaurant, people always want to know what's here. Yeah. Okay.
And
so you are, to not net it out, you've got an application that people on both sides of your usage flow are using, both consumers and restaurants are using. You have a reasonable understanding of what the business model is going to be, and your numbers are still small, but they're starting to show you some, you know, some reasonable validation.
Right.
So what are your questions? Let's look at your questions.
So we have one unique thing that we have experienced, Sramana, is that almost a couple of top VCs actually reached out to us rather than we reaching out. Okay, and even though we are ready, and these are typically a Series CD players and all, right? And we never approached. We did approach a couple of angels, and you know, but that was like when we were a year back. Okay. We know that, you know, hey, we are not yet there for a Series A because there are certain operational issues that we still to do, right? What did we prove is, we proved that consumers use it, consumers love to use it, they repeatedly use it, we can scale restaurants. What we haven't yet proven is the consumer scale. How am I going to get a 5 million, you know, users who are going to use it, right? How am I going to do without money? That's the point that I haven't yet proven. So what the questions that we have from whatever discussions that I had with all these VCs is, hey, what point do you think, what is the, you know, do we think that we cater to the average Joe and not really only the early adopters? Okay, that's the first question. So that
there are very, you know, there are steps that you need to take to, this is not a Series A deal by any stretch of imagination, it is an angel deal. And even to get, in Indian angels, in general, angels are risk averse these days, and they're all looking for stuff with traction. Indian angels are particularly averse to risk. So there's a whole set of things that you need to bring together for angels to work with you. And you know, we know the angels and the seed funds as well who would look at a deal like this, but there are lots of things that still need to be in place before you can qualify for that funding.
Okay, that's one. Okay, And second one is so we have the big players, right? They say, hey, maybe it's a bit too early for us. Why don't you move this? They actually give a specific number itself, right? Why don't you move this number to us and get me back? Because it seems to be very interesting, right? Now the question is that what is the reference plane that you compare? We are not a gaming app. We are not a point of sale system. We are not a consumer app, right? Right? If you are comparing me to Grubhub, Just Eat, Delivery Hero, put the numbers there out, and I am very happy to discuss. I have the numbers with me, right? So when people see, we can go and pitch.
So what you're looking for is figuring out what the comparables are, and you may not have a direct comparable, but there are lots of restaurant-related businesses out there, and you have different models, and you're going to need to figure out which ones. How are you similar to them? How are you different from them? And create a reference plane.
Yeah, I think we did that, but probably we are not good at articulating.
Well, I'll be happy to help you with that.
Thanks.
This is not very complicated, by the way. I'm pretty sure that it's, I just need to give you a little bit of guidance, and you should be on your way on that one.
Okay, thanks, Sramana. So the other question that I have is, does anyone, when I talk about it, hey, it's a hyperlocal marketplace fulfillment business. Tell me a marketplace model and a fulfillment model that actually has beaten.
I don't think this is a marketplace.
No, it's not really a marketplace, but just by, see, I do have restaurants and consumers to balance, right? It's not really they both sell to each other. It's not a true marketplace. I agree. But I need to build both sides, isn't it?
But all restaurant businesses, you look at Yelp, OpenTable, all of these are, restaurants and consumers. You have to build that business. You need restaurants and consumers. So, yeah.
Okay.
That doesn't make it a marketplace. Yelp is not a marketplace. OpenTable is not a marketplace.
Yeah, probably, maybe the wording is, what I meant by marketplace is both seller side and buyer side, and actually we are facilitating the transaction between them, right? So building both sides is what I meant by using marketplace. Maybe I'm wrong. The last thing is that I think you already mentioned it. Do you really know investors who really take risk, A, and B, understand this business space, or better still someone who invested in, similar things like OpenTable, Grubhub, Just Eat, Delivery Hero, Foodpanda, etc. Because there's no point in talking to, sorry.
The way I look at funding is that you're going to need to do all the pieces that are needed to get to fundability. And then you're going to work with a bunch of investors, and we can get you to pretty much all investors that you need to do research on whom you want to get to, and we'll introduce you to our network, and there are specific people that you want to reach. We can help you reach that, because we can reach more or less anybody we want to. But the reality is that you don't have all the pieces that would be, so I wouldn't blow that cartridge right now. I wouldn't go talk to investors yet.
Okay, got it. So one, this is definitely not, just to sum it up, we have been running it for, almost 1.5 years, but from last August is when, I'm full-time into it. We multiple experiments, literally we can talk to, anyone, and we can say that what works and what doesn't work in this business. We have failed a lot, we have learned a lot, but somebody can easily ride over our mistakes and build a scale. Okay, somebody who's like, just think about, probably Just Eat or, Grubhub. They can literally do what we are doing because they don't need to learn anything. Okay, so without money, this business is not going to be, a global scale big business, right? In which case, right, what's my next logical step? And okay, fundable to pay by service, pay by paychecks, both of them are out of options for me. So I've read everything that's there on the internet, on your blogs. So both of them are out of question for me, because I'm better off doing a job and probably doing a million miles and getting that occasional business class if I have to do that. I won't be struggling so much and getting slammed by a steward, right, to build this. So we have got to some stage, but without money, this is not going to go anywhere. So how do we do that?
My point, you're not ready for funding yet. You're going to have to do what is needed to get to fundability. And if you're not willing to put that work, then you should close up shop and forget this project and go get a job.
Got it.
As
got it.
Stands, so I don't think you will be able to raise money.
No, we actually have 2 term sheets that we rejected, just to give you an idea, right? One accelerator and, of course, I also know what your opinion of an accelerator and incubator is. But one...
Deals are really bad.
Yeah, deals are really bad. And see, taking smaller money will not lead me anywhere. That's one thing that I'm very sure. Hey, taking like 200K or 100K and then assuming that this is going to become like, I'm going to give you a 10-bagger and, the next unicorn, no point in that, right? Because you need this money to this scale. That's when the business becomes interesting and...
Yeah, but you won't get a Series A funding right away. You're going to have to do seed and Series A. So if you're getting a seed term sheet, then go take a seed. If you're in a money crunch and you need seed funding, and if you're getting seed term sheets, there's no point rejecting seed term sheets either, because you do need seed money.
Yeah, but that's already passed, Sramana. So probably I'll try and say that what you said, right? What makes this much more attractive proposition? Because one, there is interest definitely, and like literally I had like 4 to 5 meetings with almost any VC who has come out with and trying to understand. One.
You shouldn't go blow those cartridges right now without getting your ducks lined up. I'm firmly against people going and sitting down with investors without doing their homework.
Yeah, but they came, Sramana. I won't be foolish enough to say no. And you always have that hope, right? Who knows? Maybe if that. The big guy.
Somebody wants to sit down with me on an investor presentation on a deal that is not ready for financing. I will tell them. I will let you know when I'm ready.
Okay.
As far as 1M1M is concerned, we never expose half-baked stuff to investors. It's a surefire way to show credibility, and then they won't take a meeting for another 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is useless. I want to take the meeting. I want them to take the meeting when I'm ready and I can blow them, out of the water.
Got it.
It's a huge mistake to prematurely sit down with investors.
Okay.
People don't understand it. That just by investors looking at their faces, something is going to happen. It's not going to happen. If you don't have your ducks lined up, there is no chance of investment happening.
Got it.
Okay. So hang on. I will talk about 1M1. You probably have been at these sessions before, so you know how we work, and if you're interested in working with us, I'll be happy to work with you. I just want to spend a few going over a piece that we published recently, which is part of the unicorn series that I'm writing. We're covering all the unicorn companies that we have profiles on the Entrepreneur Journey series and extracting the nuggets from their journeys. Unicorn companies, by the way, folks, are companies that have had billion-dollar exits. And, Greg Gianforte's story right now as the company is a really great one. Of course, this company was acquired in 2011 by Oracle for $1.5 billion. Prior to that, it went public. This company is very interesting because it was not actually a Silicon Valley company to begin with. It was started in Bozeman, Montana, which is like the, backwaters of the American technology industry by every stretch of imagination. And the company built up $6 million in revenues from Montana with no outside funding, and then got this Series A financing at $130 million. So that allowed Gianforte and his management team to keep a tremendous ownership in the company. And I'm personally extremely sensitive to entrepreneurs maintaining ownership in companies because, I had to go through the traumatic experience of getting fired from one of my own companies after I raised the venture capital financing. So, you can't really keep control of your vision or what you want to do with your company if you get fired. And that's why you should not get into a situation where the controlling interest in the company gets out of your control very early in the business. So as a thumb rule, we advise entrepreneurs to never raise any equity financing at under $2 million pre-money valuation. And we We often hear from entrepreneurs who are like, oh, I've got a term sheet that's 40% equity for $500,000. These are terrible deals. Please do not get into these kinds of deals, because the rest of the financing, subsequent rounds of financing, gets completely mucked up if you part with that much equity early on, at the very beginning. Because, typically if you go down the financing route, it's going to take you 2-3 rounds of financing before you can get a company to scale. And you have to be able to, preserve the structure in your cap table to be able to do 2, 3, 4 rounds of financing. And if in the first round you give up 40%, the term sheet becomes untenable. So that's kind of my message to you. Please do not do stupid deals. And if you come to us having done stupid deals, undoing those deals is almost impossible. This is like, there's no divorce in a deal like that. If you've gotten into a situation where half your company is owned by investors and you've hardly made any progress, this becomes a very bad term sheet that, in fact, subsequent investors do not like to finance deals like that. So be very careful about what kind of deal negotiations you get into. If you like, by the way, what we are doing here, please refer 1M to serious entrepreneurs. We are interested in working with serious entrepreneurs who want to do this, who want to build businesses. And it's going to take many years to build a business. This is not an overnight thing. It's not something you flip in 2 years and become a multimillionaire. That's just not how entrepreneurship works. It's a lot of work. This is why I don't like the terminology of lifestyle business, because yes, it is a lifestyle. An entrepreneurial lifestyle is a lifestyle. It's just a very hard lifestyle. It's incredibly stressful, incredible amounts of work. So this idea of a cushy lifestyle just does not apply to, any business. So let me walk you through the resources that you can avail of through 1M. Everything is on our blog, 1m1m.com. You will have the blog, which is free, and it's chock full of both inspiring and educational information. So, very often you will see people in these roundtables who are avid readers of the blog, and they are using the knowledge that we are bringing to you through the blog. We also have the Entrepreneur Journeys book series. We have published 8 books so far, and we originally started with paper books, but at this point we have switched to digital books only. The first 4 books are available in both paper and digital format, but the last 4 are digital only. And going forward, we are going to do a lot of books, but they're only going to be digital books. So use either Kindle, the device, or the Kindle app, and you will have access to all of these books on a regular basis. And we are taking specific topics and then, building up on top of that, using our Entrepreneur Journeys model of case studies and analysis synthesis of specific ideas and specific topics. So anything that you see on this roster that resonates with you and resonates with your situation, go forward and read up and take advantage of the knowledge that we are imparting through these books. And they're very, very attractively priced. They cost nothing, basically. So this is what the slide looks like, and on the slide you will find lots of videos. There are tons of FAQ videos which will answer your questions about 1M. Feel free to use them as well in understanding how we work and if it fulfills your needs. This is our 219th free roundtable. So over 20,000 have attended. I think we're approaching 25,000 at this point. And it's something that we have learned a lot from, and I believe a lot of entrepreneurs have benefited greatly, because now that we've been doing this for a few years, we're getting entrepreneurs who come back and tell us that we took the advice that you gave us at the roundtable and the company has become profitable or has reached $1 million or, is doing whatever, blah, blah, blah in revenue. It's really reassuring, and it's really satisfying to see that progression, in the entrepreneurs. So, the mission that we are trying to accomplish here is something that we are supporting through multiple platforms. These free roundtables are one platform, the books are one platform, the blog, our email newsletter, all these are platforms that through which we, and the incubator itself, are all platforms through which we bring you knowledge and education. And hopefully you're going to take advantage of all these resources and build your business in a way that helps you become successful. So the premium program, which is the Real Incubation Acceleration Program, is a $1,000 annual membership fee. We offer you extensive methodology guidance. There's an elaborate curriculum. We help you with business development, introductions to customers, channel partners. We help you with strategy consulting, mentoring, coaching, guidance, advising, whatever you call it. So that's the interactive, guidance that you saw here, some examples of. We also help you with financing if you're fundable. We'll give you the diagnostic. We will give you the path of what you need to do to become financeable. And once you are financeable, we'll introduce you to investors. That's the method on the financing side. And then we help you with getting media traction. So it's very difficult for small companies to get any traction in the media, but we do get you media traction, and that's very, very helpful for small companies who struggle to get any attention from the media. And you do need media attention. It is important to get media attention. The $1 Million Club is a set of case studies that you can look at on the website of people who have achieved $1 million in revenue from the incubation program that we have. The ROI equation of 1M is $375,000 of cash plus 5 to 10% of equity. That is the value that you get for a $1,000 annual membership fee. And we give you plenty of orientation material on how to use the program effectively. I do recommend that you go through the self-assessment to see where you are in your progression, to see what needs work. And if you're a premium member, the curriculum modules to plug your knowledge gaps are provided in there as well. There's lots of information on the premium program that you can study, including video FAQs, to get a feel for whether you want to use the program or not. The curriculum is delivered in a web self-service mode through case studies and video lectures. We have over 600 serious entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs who have come to the forum to teach with me. So this is a program that is built on the experiences and the knowledge and the lessons from the trenches of over 600 entrepreneurs. And all those case studies are available, and they've been synthesized in video lectures so that you can learn from them. So do pay attention to the case studies. That's where you learn the most and learn viscerally from the experiences of these mentors. The curriculum is divided into core and electives, and you have unlimited access to the whole thing based on your premium membership. The core modules are bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, financing, customer acquisition, and team building. The electives are Web 3.0 and e-commerce, cloud computing and business solutions, outsourcing and consulting, mobile and social apps, healthcare IT, online education, and gaming. Our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. And even if you want to raise money, you're going to have to navigate that bootstrapping phase to get to a point where you can become fundable. There are things that you need to do to become fundable, and that's just the reality. Coverage of premium members is accessible from the press page, where you get to see, what we have done in terms of coverage for our premium members. How to use the 1M1M Twitter channel is a module that you can find on the website. It's just an explanation of how we use our social media footprint and give you access to those channels, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, our blog, so that you can use those channels to get your word out there. If you want to, we have an email newsletter that is subscribed to by 150,000 people, over 150,000 people. Our LinkedIn channel has 30,000 plus subscribers. Our Facebook channel has about that many subscribers. So there's a lot of social media footprint that you can access by working with us, because we let you access these channels. This is the blog where you can get coverage as well. We do have an affiliate program, and if you want to work as an affiliate partner of the 1M1M program, you can do that. We pay 10% affiliate commission. And we have free roundtables pretty much every week except for the July 4th weekend, all throughout June. The rest of June we have free roundtables. In July we have roundtables on the 10th, the 17th, and the 31st. So lots of roundtables available. Make sure you book your slot if you want to pitch. And then we have another book, that's Vision India 2020, which is an ideation book. If you're still looking for an idea and if you're working in an emerging market, this book would be a good one to refer to. Incubator in a Box is our program that allows any incubator or accelerator, as well as companies, investors, governments, schools, academic institutions, entrepreneurship development organizations to easily, rapidly, and affordably either launch an incubator or expand on your incubation services and build a deep relationship with Silicon Valley. We are headquartered right off Sand Hill Road in Silicon Valley. So we are deeply entrenched in the Silicon Valley ecosystem, and you can, by just partnering with 1M1M, using the Incubator in a Box or our affiliate program, you can become affiliated with the program very easily and offer the program to your constituency and get them plugged into Silicon Valley very easily. Our Incubator in a Box is being used by a lot of major corporations, Oracle, SAP, Microsoft, several. So it's a proven program that is adopted by very serious players in the industry. These are just some of our newer books. We are going to have the next book coming out in September that's going to be on e-commerce. It's called From E-commerce to Web 3.0. That's going to be released on September 2nd. And if you want to call in, now is a good time to call in. So Ken Anderson says he'll be calling about Incubator in the Box tomorrow. Great. And in fact, the person to call in is to call and discuss with about the 1M1M program, Incubator in a Box, affiliate partnership, all of this is Irina Patterson. Her phone number is 786-301-2456. Irina@1mby1m.com is her email. Skype Irina_Patterson. Feel free to call her if you have any questions. Anybody? Questions, comments? These are the call-in numbers. And folks, while you're thinking about questions and stuff, the World Cup soccer starts today, and I don't know how many of you are World Cup fans. I certainly am, and I will be watching a lot of World Cup soccer in the next month. Are there World Cup fans, soccer fans out there? Right, folks, you can also type your questions and comments there, including your comments about soccer if you'd like to. Anybody? No? All right. Well, if you are Mary Shelton, I'm in Silicon Valley. Do you take face-to-face meetings? I do not take face-to-face meetings. This is a virtual program. Anybody else? Questions, comments? We have plenty of people working with us from Silicon Valley, Mary, and they follow the exact same methodology as everybody else. And the people you really want to have face-to-face meetings with, if you're looking for investors or customers or channel partners, we will introduce you to them, and you will get face-to-face meetings with them. There is no need for face-to-face meetings with me. If you start using the program, there are several hundred hours worth of curriculum where you're going to be spending time with me as well as the other people who are whose case studies and whose experiences are part of this community and part of this program. And that's really where we want you to spend the time. Anne Clark is going back to the curriculum now. That's great. Spending a lot of time on the curriculum is actually one of the best ways to get really savvy with the methodology and the nuances of how to make progress. So if you combine the curriculum and the roundtables, the private roundtables on a regular basis, and as Anne, you are doing the private and the public roundtables, that is one of the best ways for you to make progress. Ken Anderson, what separates this program from other virtual incubation programs, platforms? There are very few quality virtual incubation platforms, Ken. And absolutely nobody who has the level of case studies, no program is built on 600 successful entrepreneurs and their experiences and their journeys. We're a proven program, we work globally. Most programs have no capacity to work globally. Compared to what we offer, most programs are, kind of like amateurish programs. Anybody else? Questions, comments? See, one of the big differences that you will see between all incubators, I'm not talking about virtual or physical, I'm talking about all incubation programs, all acceleration programs, they're all running after venture scale businesses. They position themselves as feeders into angels and then VCs. So their success metrics is funding. They want every single company to be funded. As a result, they screen who gets into the program and try to at least get companies that are going to be fundable. We don't do that. We are a completely inclusive program. No matter what stage you're at, whatever is your fundability qualification, we will help you build a business. We don't care whether you're fundable or not. We want you to build a business with customers, revenues, and profits. That's a big philosophical difference between 1M, 1M, and every single other incubator or accelerator out there, whether it's physical or virtual. Does that answer your question, Ken? Over 99% of the businesses out there are not fundable. Hence, the chances of a company that is at a very early stage and has not fleshed out all these issues, not being able to prove that they're fundable is very high. So we have to work often, 12 months, 18 months, in some cases 3 years to get a company to fundability. And in some cases, companies, once they start figuring out how to put one foot before the other and build businesses based on customers and revenues, they choose not to get any funding. There's a company that we just profiled this week, Happy Grasshopper in Florida. They've been with us right from the beginning, right from when they launched, and it was pretty early in our program as well. They've been in the 1M program for 3 years. This year, they're going to hit a $3 million revenue run rate, and they have raised no funding at all. And they've chosen to raise no funding. At this point, they're a fundable company, but they have not raised funding, and they don't want to raise funding because they've figured out how to build the business, and they are building the business organically and doing just fine. So we don't care whether you want to raise funding or not want to raise funding. If you want to raise funding and if you qualify following our methodology to become fundable, we'll introduce you to investors and help you raise money and negotiate the deals. But if you're not fundable but a viable business, we will be happy to help you build that business as well. Okay? All right, folks. I will look forward to seeing you next week then, and have a very productive week meanwhile, and a good weekend. Bye-bye.